was awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, what's up, Hilo News family? Welcome to another episode of the Can We Talk podcast, our show where we talk to dope people in the community doing dope things. And today is no different. I'm so excited to have our next guest on. She's a friend of the pod. She has come on and shared a lot of valuable information over the years. So I'm really excited to bring her back. And she's talking about a very special event that you got to make sure you roll up to, okay? We are talking to Vice Mayor Katrina Wilson about all things Juneteenth going on in Miami Gardens. So without further ado, I would love to welcome to the show Vice Mayor Wilson. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Doing very, very well.
That's what's up. Look, it's always great to have you. You always give us a good word and a good energy on the show. So I'm so happy that you've taken time out of your very busy schedule. I know it's like crunch time for you guys. So I really appreciate you taking time to share with my audience why they need to know about the Juneteenth experience in Miami Gardens.
It's actually my pleasure. It's never a problem when it comes to you. If I don't have space, I make it. Our conversations have been very, very enlightening over the years, and like you said, just very, very inspirational. So I appreciate you allowing me to come onto your platform and welcoming with me with such warmth and genuine feel. It's absolutely my pleasure. It really, really is.
I love it. Look, see, when Black Girl Magic just activates, like, I know if you're watching it, I know you felt the energy in the room change. Like, that's just what Black Girl Magic is.
It's true. It really, really is true. It can change in a for the good, or it can change for the better. And I'd like to be with those Black girls that got the magic that changes it for the good.
That part, that part.
Hmm.
And look, see, we're gonna jump right into it because I want to hear all about this year's Juneteenth experience and just to see what it's grown to over the years, especially under your leadership and your management. Like it's pretty dope. And it's like the hot ticket of the year. Like I've been hearing so much about Miami Gardens Juneteenth event that's happening. So Vice Mayor, tell us what can people expect this year?
Our Juneteenth celebration is really just that. We chronicle the experience of Black people in America through our music. And the unique thing about what it is that we do is that we bring our community members to the stage. We have the lion's share of our talent and the display of our music and our communication about what Juneteenth means to us is with our very own residents and local artists and poets and just dancers right here in the great city of Miami Gardens and Miami-Dade County at large. Our Juneteenth has, when it started out, Essence Magazine called it one of the best in the country and one of the largest in the state of Florida. And so the state of Florida is pretty big for its largest city to have the largest Juneteenth celebration. And so we have been pretty excited at how warm our community has received it, how much they have participated in it, and even how much they really, really are looking forward to this time when we say, as our theme this year is, America keeps its promise of freedom for all.
I love that. Love that. And so, what I really loved, and I've been to a couple of the Juneteenth experiences, I love the park and ride. And I know it started during the pandemic, but it's
Yes.
really a vibe. Like, and I was looking on the site and seeing social media posts that is still a part of, what is a part of the experience. What was the I guess the motivation behind keeping that element? Because you could have went to like, let's just go back to regular theater seating or festival seating. What made you say, let's keep the cars and the park and ride aspect of Juneteenth now that we're, post air quote pandemic?
Well, like when we take a look at Galveston, Texas, right, which is where Juneteenth was initially held, the thing that they did was they gathered outside like a cookout. It was a big old community gathering where people felt like they were at a family reunion of sorts. They barbecued, they had this person to bring something, that person to bring something. They celebrated the things that were culturally sensitive or to them, like the red cherry or the strawberry sodas. They had barbecue ribs and all of those things were marquee things that were common to their community. And so when we thought of having people to come out, we say, bring your own potato salad, bring your own drinks, come out and sit just like you are at a family reunion. Get to know your neighbors and reacquaint yourself with people that you might not have seen in a long time. You know, a lot of our residents went to the same schools and they graduated, moved to Broward County or Dade County or Atlanta, and they come home in the summer. And when they come home and they come home for Juneteenth, they come home to see each other again. And so we wanted to keep the spirit of community. We wanted to keep the spirit of our traditions where we can be next to one another, share in our famous dishes and really have community conversations about those things that oftentimes we don't get a chance to do as much because we are working, we have families, we have a lot of other things that we're involved in. And so Juneteenth gives us that time where we pause. And probably one of the most important times is that it's right before elections, you know,
Mhm.
and really, really critical to the African American experience in America now is our willingness and our determination to continue to make voting a priority. Make it
That
a
part.
conscious effort. We cannot allow our hard-won freedom to vote and to participate in this democratic system that we are living in to fall by the wayside. You know, we have to continue to reach back to our children and our children's children to reinforce that Black girl magic, the mothers that we have, and the Black men magic. You know, I don't want to leave those guys out because I know for me, you know, when I have my family reunions and we start cooking, the women cook some things, but the men are at the barbecue pit. And without
Mhm.
them, a lot of things would not occur. And so I think sometimes we take those guys and we, you know, think it's all about us as women, and it's not. It's all about us as women and our sons and our husbands and our fathers and our grandfathers that are there backing us up every step of the way. You know, they've been there with us between each line of pain and glory in America. And so we have to be very deliberate about ensuring that they are not left out or overlooked or diminished in any way because it's a
Mhm.
very, very important part of our community. And so they are there, you know, participating and helping also with Juneteenth. And I tell you, they are, you know, they are very important to me. I'm telling you, very important. You see, I just went on a whole nother subject.
No, no, but look, I feel you.
Yeah, okay,
I
all right, good.
totally feel you, and I really love that you touched on that part of, like, freedom and, elections because that's a big part of the celebration of our freedom, the fact that we're able to participate and be recognized as full human beings under the Constitution, and everybody was made free, so the fact that that's a cornerstone of the celebration and behind the mission is really, really cool and dope, and I love that you guys have that a part of this experience here in Miami Gardens. I want to get into the entertainment because you guys have a really huge, amazing headliner. I love her. She has some songs I love. I think it's people there for everybody. So can you tell us who is performing this year?
Oh my God. I don't even know where to begin. We have children that are in elementary school that are performing. Um, I don't have my list here with me to even begin to call names. I mean, they are community people. There you go. They are community people that are really organic to the Miami Gardens area. We have two children that are coming. They're going to sing the Star Spangled Banner and lift every voice and sing. I think her name is Amanda. We have dancers that are coming from the Divas Dance Studio, along with Simone Dance Studios. They're going to do like 3 or 4 dances for us. We have our local artist, Big D, who graduated from Miami Carroll City, who is producing much of the other local talent that's like from all over. He doesn't even want to tell me. He wants to keep it a secret, because he wants to have the surprises that are going to be coming out. So I can't even call all of the names. I'm not even going to try it. I'm so tired until I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good, and I have the flyer up for everyone if you're looking at the screen. So it's headlining performances by Stephanie Mills. Like when I think of home, I think of a place like love Stephanie Mills, the original Dorothy in The Wiz on Broadway, and she has
Yes,
some
yes,
amazing hits from the 80s and 90s. And also too, we have local performers, Melton Mustafa, May
excellent.
Rain,
Yes, yeah,
R&B
there we
sensation
go.
Kent Jones, Larry Dog, La Vie, Big Man, Big Ari, Gia Wire, Nia Amber, Ar Arnitris, sorry to mess that up,
Nitra,
Arnitris
yes,
Williams,
yes, yes.
and
Excellent singer.
Levi.
And
Yeah, I wanted to give you a little bit of a assist with that because I
I
had the flyer up. I'll read it for you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Sometimes you just draw a blank. I've been hustling. I just got back, as I said earlier, from Washington, D.C. That's why I'm still in the car. I flew up for their Juneteenth celebration, and it was
Nice.
incredible. And so the weather outside is a nightmare, and I'm hustling trying to get to you. And so I just apologize that I drew a blank there.
Look, it's all good. Look, you're the vice mayor. We understand that you're human and you can't keep all this. You ain't no computer girl, so it's
No,
all good. If the people don't get that, then that's them. Okay, we fine over here at Hello News. We get it. Okay, it's
thank you,
all
thank you.
good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Marvin Dixon has been our host for since we started, and he's a 305. He comes right out of
Hmm.
Carroll City as well. And so we just are proud. I get emotional about it because our kids are coming to the stage. Our grown kids who grew up here and our babies that we are seeding are coming to the stage. And if there is a place that you should get a stage and be prominent before your own family, your community, is right here at home. I don't
Hmm.
want them to have to go out of Miami-Dade County to feel that they are known and noticed, that they are a superstar. I think that a lot of confidence that I have developed in my life has come from just being put out front, made to get out
Hmm.
front and do a poem, made to get out front in my church and give a speech, made to get up and say, "Hey, you become a cheerleader, get into something productive." Those kinds of things were critical experiences that helped me to develop the belief in myself that I could do it. And it came from my community validating me at various times in my life. Even now, as I have run for office, they are the ones that said, "Okay, Katrina, we're going to not only choose you, but we're going to trust that you are going to do what we believe that you should do." And so I think that when we are able to celebrate our children, it gets to be difficult for them to go away and let somebody run them down, because they know that they have a place home where they are loved and cared
That
about
part.
and valued. And there'll always be our stars, you know.
Mhm.
There'll always be a star here in the great city of Miami Gardens.
And that is the amazing thing. And one, Miami Gardens, me, I'm always going to shameless plug. That's where I'm from, born and raised. But it's always feel like a family atmosphere. And I love the opportunities like that you give to local performers as well. Like, and the Juneteenth stage to me is just as dope as Jazz in the Gardens. Like, I love it. And so
Mm-hmm.
to be able to perform it in front of that larger group of people, at an event in front of your peers and your community, like that's really amazing. In addition to the celebration of Juneteenth, you're also giving opportunities to local performers, and there are like food trucks and vendors out there. So there's
That's
just another opportunity for our local talent and our local businesses to have an audience that that Miami Gardens provides, and you're leading that with the Juneteenth experience.
and one of the things we talk about when we talk about economics is our dollars being able to turn over in our community.
Mhm.
And so with this type of event, that's exactly what happens. We're not in this for profit, not for monetary profit. We are in here to invest in our community and to have the return to be in creating successful residents, successful citizens, people who are whole, people who are able to plant and resod and to grow and nurture the fruit from the trees that we are that are our citizenry. And so I think that the greatest gift that we could give anybody is confidence. Is
Mm.
value, is self-worth. And like I said, if they can do it here at home and pass the litmus test, they can go anywhere and do it, just like you and I, you know.
Mhm.
We are a testimony in a lot of ways of what Miami Gardens can produce, and the seed that is in us, wherever we are, we will be doing good work.
Yes. Yes, yes, I love it. Look, didn't I tell y'all she be bringing a word? I know y'all better get y'all cups filled up. Come on
Get them
now.
filled, get 'em filled up. Don't worry about the rain, because if it rains, you can hop in your car, and when you get back
Mhm.
out, you, because it doesn't, it's not going to rain all day, but you come on out and you just enjoy. We have the Juneteenth party pit where people will be able to get a closer view. Bring your chair, come up a little closer. It's closer to the stage, and we welcome you to come. We have all kinds of food and just a variety, but more importantly, I think we have three of the best DJs in the state of Florida. We have DJ Tate,
Mhm.
who will be there. We have DJ Nasty along with DJ Bo Weezy. And if they can't throw a party, nobody can.
Mhm.
Play music from for the 2-year-old all the way all the way up to the 200-year-old. They have a playlist that you can't beat. But like I said, the most important thing is that it will be together.
Mhm.
We will be together, and we will be together under the freedom that our very own city fought for. And that's the right to self-govern, and to be able to
Mm.
create a city that we run and that we have a say in. And it's the same lady that walked every year to Washington D.C. and said we have to make this a federal holiday. I think she was
Mhm.
in like her late 80s or early 90s,
Wow.
never giving up that fight. And so, if she thought it was that important, then we certainly should as well. Because I think if we forget, I had someone to tell me when I was in Washington, D.C., that there are children that are in school that were not born when Barack Obama was president, and they didn't
Isn't
even know
that
he was
crazy?
black.
Wow.
I said, what you talking about? So when people think about being in the state of Florida and they have taken Black history off of the curriculum, it really doesn't bother me that much. And it doesn't bother me that much because I said, who told us before the books were written what our history was? And it was
Mhm.
our families. It was
Yeah.
our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents who, what you might say, were griots. And they sat down
Mhm.
and told us the story. And when they couldn't speak it, they braided it in our heads.
Mhm.
And so we have
Wow.
to remember that what we tell our children and what we require of them, our children, our grandchildren, we have to be the dispensers of that information. It's our civic responsibility. It's our responsibility to our heritage. It's our responsibility to our country. It's us. We have to be able to say, hey, listen, I need to see the white of your eyes. Look at me when I'm talking to you and open up your ears. And I'm going to tell you the things that you need to carry with you so that you won't get in a place and say, nobody told me.
Mhm.
You're going to say,
Definitely.
told me, I chose to do something different, but I knew. That's
Mhm.
what that saying is about. You know better because they know what they,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah.
And events like this stand in the gap, especially with the war on Black history and other,
Hmm. Hmm.
histories and things in our state and our country. This is a way to stand in the gap for people in the community. Kids in the community could be like, "What's Juneteenth?" And that brings me to my next question. Before I let you go, why
Hmm.
do we celebrate Juneteenth for the people? Because Halo News actually has a mixed audience. Not just Black millennials watching. We've got white people, Latinx people, people of all different backgrounds watching us. So people who may not understand why we celebrate and go so hard for Juneteenth, can you explain to them, Vice Mayor Wilson, why we celebrate this day?
We celebrate this day because there was a war that was fought for our freedom, and it was called the Civil War. And even after that war was declared over and won by the North, the South still was unwilling to release these enslaved individuals. I don't like to
Mm,
call them slaves because that dehumanizes them. I said they were enslaved individuals, and they didn't want to release them according to the proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln because it was not profitable for them. So they
mm,
kept it a secret in Texas. So they had to send the general out in order to demand that everybody, they went to every plantation in the South and told the slaves, the enslaved, you are free to go.
Mm,
You are free to go. And many of them grabbed their bags and their families and they left because they made laws in many of those states that told them what they were not able to do as free uh, 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 as free people. They said, well, you can't, you got to work and you got to do this and you got to do that. That's how sharecropping started because they
mm,
could not just sit around doing anything. So those slave holders in Texas said, we're not going to tell them they're free. We're going
mm.
to keep it quiet. So for 2.5 years, the enslaved people worked for nothing because they
Wow.
didn't know that they were free. And so when I think it was Grant wrote in and said, listen, they are free, let them go. And that was on June 19th, 1865. And that's when those Texans, they were, but not citizens, but those slaves in Texas were known that they were free. And so once they found out, what they did is, I guess they looked around at each other and they said, well, where are we going? And
Mm,
they decided to stay. And I imagine in my mind that they got together and said, you bring a pig, you cook the rice, you bring the watermelons, bring the collard greens out your garden. You know how to sing, you come. You know how to preach, you come. And they gathered and they celebrated in what became known as Juneteenth. And
mm,
they decided that they would go and build in Galveston. They had all kinds of trades. There is a house right now that's one of the first houses built with their free hands.
mm,
So they didn't run. They stayed and they made a place for them. And that became known as Juneteenth. And so it's just like so many of our communities. Sometimes we run away when we ought to put stakes in the ground and say, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here and we're going to fix what's broken. So they became
mm,
valuable citizens of that community, and Juneteenth started to become a time, around the country where people were celebrating their freedom. And I don't remember what kind of event that kind of stopped it. And when I say stopped it didn't prohibit them from doing it. I think it was it was a war or something like that that detracted from it. And Americans were not warm to this whole Juneteenth thing. So it went away for a while. But Opal never gave up on it. Never
mm.
gave up on it.
Love it. Thank you for that history lesson because a lot of times we don't know why we're celebrating things.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think that it's important to share that story and share that narrative for people so they understand. Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, we're out here celebrating and we're reuniting, but there's a spirit of freedom and there's a reason why we're here today because the last free black people in the country got the news that they were in fact free, and this is why we celebrated. We all know each state, especially enslaved states or slave states,
Right,
have their own Juneteenth or Emancipation Day. I know
right.
in Florida it's May, but we celebrate as a collective because at that point all of us were free. And so thank you so much for breaking that down for our audience because I like I said, I think it's important for us to remember like it's all cool and it's trendy now, but it's some real stuff behind why we do what we do, why we
Yeah,
celebrate.
like it's like I think that when you find abuse, right? One of the
Mm,
things that you don't see are the obvious scars of abuse. It usually can be a mental and emotional scar that people can have, and you're looking at them and you don't really know what you're looking at or why you're looking at it. Well, when we take a look at the enslaved Africans and their offspring, there are many things that we do because we are scarred and
mm,
traumatized. I saw a weapon that was used by many of the slaveholders, and it was a wire whip.
mm,
It wasn't a leather whip, it was a wire whip. I said, how and who would beat someone with wire.
My God.
And so it wasn't that they beat him in the barn. It wasn't that they beat him in the house. They took him and they gathered all of the other enslaved Africans and they said, watch, watch. And they made them watch while he screamed, while he or she, and sometimes they watched while they mutilated them and killed them and hung them at the tree and let them hang there
Mm,
while the
mm,
birds and the crows ate their flesh. So when we talk about the trauma of what an enslaved person went through, it's not something that was gone when that person died. The trauma of that was generational.
that part. Mm-hmm.
And so this is why you heard me say earlier, I don't want to dispense with any person that is a part of the African American experience in America, especially our men,
Mm-hmm.
because they have been here with us. And a lot of times when we were put out front to go and do things, it was because they couldn't do it. So they gave it to us.
Mm. Yes.
We have to know those kinds of things so we don't become angry enough with them to not understand the trauma, right?
Yes.
They are experiencing even today when they experience the racism. And it's the same thing with us. We are also, as Black women, still we've come a long way. We're doing a lot of things, but we still experience trauma that
Mm-hmm.
is still a very generational kind of thing. And if we dig deep enough, we can find that it has its roots in our history of slavery. And
Man. My.
subsequent, even though we were free, we still didn't have a lot of rights. We were still
Mm,
relegated to being, second citizens. And so when people from other cultures come and they say, "Why you are you celebrating Juneteenth?" I say to them, "You better join us because you were fleeing something similar to what we were enduring as Africans here in America." And
that
so
part.
you here, you're not coming here to lose your rights either. You need to come here and say, look, I believe in this thing called democracy in America. I don't have to agree, but I just uh, agree that everybody should have a voice. When we should come to a resolution to things peacefully. And even though when I might not like the president, he's still my president. I might not
Mm-hmm.
like the governor, but he's still my governor. And so when we are able to realize and embrace the promise that America has, even for those of us that were the last to receive it, guess what? There's hope for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the
That.
Mexicans are coming. That's why
Mm-hmm.
out of Colombia and coming out of many of the South American countries, coming out of Cuba, because they are saying, I don't want to be oppressed anymore. And I get it. I get,
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Yes. And really, like you said, they should understand why we celebrate. And also too, the our freedom paved way for other oppressed and minority groups in the country. So it all to me ties back together, and why we should all, be celebrating together and working together. uh Vice Mayor Wilson, that was amazing. Thank you for breaking that down and giving the people all the information that they need to know and the tea they need to know on the Juneteenth and the history of it. Because, like I said, that is stuff that I feel like has been getting lost in the mainstream part of Juneteenth, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm glad that we were able to have that conversation. Before I let you go, I just want to give you one last chance to give people information on when and where the event is happening, and where they could register to get to attend the event. Just want to
Okay.
give you another chance to plug everything.
The one thing I want to say about Juneteenth is that Juneteenth technically is a free event. It costs
Mm,
you $20 to park your car. You
mm,
follow me? So if you have 5 people, 1 people, 10 people, 20 people, it's $20 per car. That's it. And you get a parking space right next to the car that you are parked in, and that's free for you to get out with your chairs. You don't have to sit in the car the entire time. You will have a blank space next to your car. You get out, you get your lawn chair, you get your cooler, and you are able to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And it will be this Saturday, June 15th, at the Hard Rock Stadium. You will enter into gate 18. If you have not registered, we'll have a lane for you to register. If you have, you'll get in just that much faster. We have VIP that will be there. The gates will open at 3. So the sooner you get there, the more choice of a spot that you can have. Additionally, we have additional parking at Norwood. So if we are full, you can go and park there. Come on down to gate 15 and come on in. And again,
Mm.
we don't charge for entrance fees, we charge for the car. So if you park at Norwood, we'll have to charge you for parking at Norwood, but when you get to the gate, you'll be able to come right on in and find your friends or come to the party pit and sit down and enjoy the show. We
If
start
you don't have a car and you walk up, do you is there a fee that you have to pay or no?
No, no, it's no
Mm,
fee. Only if you have a car. And so if you park
gotcha.
at Norwood, you have to pay for the parking because we had to pay for the site.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Guys, I think that's a good deal. Like, especially if you have a group of people, you bust that down and that's pennies. You eat that in a week at a restaurant. So y'all could pay that $20 for parking.
Well, exactly. And here is what I'm saying. Freedom isn't free.
Mm-mm.
It isn't free. It's a matter of priorities. And I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave this alone. You can see some people and what they have on their feet in terms of the shoes is more than what it'll take to get you. The socks are more than what it'll take you to get you into Juneteenth. And so being able to equate and understand how the investment of into yourself and into your community is a big old. It's a big thing. So like I had an experience where I was throwing out some shoes and I made up in my mind, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to make this contribution and it's going to be my shoe money because I buy shoes I don't need.
Mm,
I don't need
mhm.
all of these shoes. So why not try to say, well, let me give this to this kid who's going away to college. It's $100. Let me give this here $50 over here and donate this to the AKAs. Let me take $35 and over here and let me give it to the children who don't have book supplies. This is money that we spend at McDonald's.
Mm,
And yet we're not conscious enough to say, I'm going to go support my ancestors and all that they fought and bled for in order that we can be free to be at a stadium that we were once not even allowed at the gate.
mm,
And I'm not saying the Hard Rock Stadium, but I'm speaking to a time period when there was segregation.
mhm.
But all of this was the need for people to set the proper priorities and really invest themselves, their time, and their resources into really what is going to make us stronger as a people and as a country. If women are not well, America isn't well. If men are not well, America isn't well. If blacks are not well, then America isn't well. If whites are not well, America is not well. If our children are not well, America is not well. So we've got to be able to invest in one another and begin to really look at the things that make us strong as a country because it ain't gonna be no fun if Russia come over here bombing. You know, you know, you know what
That
I'm saying?
part,
Yeah.
it's not.
It won't go on. So we have to if the Cubans are fleeing oppression and they're coming here and they're not well, we're not well.
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. Thank you for breaking that down.
So, so tell
Look,
I
look,
want
I'm okay with the sidebar. This is a podcast, so we can do that. We have the flexibility to have
yeah,
sidebars. But I
yeah,
love it. It's a good conversation, and these are points that we need to have. Thank you for breaking everything down with Juneteenth and what people can experience. I have
yeah.
the ticker here on the screen to go to the website www.mgjuneteenth.com to get your
.com.
tickets or to register. It's free to register. Just have to
Yes,
pay for parking, and it's at Hard Rock Stadium this year, correct?
that is correct.
June 15th, gates open at 3 p.m.
And start with gate 18.
18. Gotcha. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Wilson. I know you tired. You just got off the plane. You fresh out of DC at the Juneteenth event. You probably gotta go run do a million more things. So I
That's
ain't
what
gonna
I
take up no
do.
more of your time. I appreciate you for taking time to speak with us and share this information with the Hollow News audience. And as always, you're always welcome back. You're a friend of the show, and I always appreciate you for supporting and rocking with Hollow News.
That's real. That's real. I feel the same way about you from the bottom of
Oh,
my heart.
thank you. This has been another amazing episode of the Can We Talk podcast. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. We're on all social media platforms. Go to our website, hollownewsmiami.com. Sign up for our email newsletter. We have exclusive content for our loyal followers. This podcast interview will be on our website and in our email newsletter and our social media pages. And again, thank you, Vice Mayor Wilson, for coming on the show. This has been an amazing conversation, and we'll see you guys
Isn't it?
next time.
You
Bye.
got it. Love you.